That's your proper setup. That's how you attain your exposed in any grip. Nor do we want to see the right hand over so much that it opposes the left hand. They should be married together in a similar fashion. A hook grip would be when both hands are way over here together. A fade or slice grip would be when both hands are way over here together. But the key to the grip is in the left hand, a little bit more in the fingers, left thumb down the shaft, right hand covers up the left thumb. That's your proper setup. That's how you attain your stance. That's how you hold on to your club. Fundamental we're going to work on in the long game is your hand action. The only thing holding on to the club are your two hands. The next closest things are your arms. They need to work properly in order for you to be the best golfer that you can possibly be. We're going to see a lot of hand action that goes through the hitting area with the elbow exposed this way, right hand passing underneath the left hand. This would be incorrect hand action. This is the hand action that the slicers have. This is the hand action that slows down the club face. We're going to have a couple of drills for hand action that you'll be using throughout your school here. Drill number one is when you swing back. We point the butt of the club down the ground. Your right wrist and right arm will fold. You don't want the butt of the club pointed in this direction, nor do you want it pointed in this direction. When you swing forward, you'll relax and you'll reverse the order. Your right arm, think of your arms when you think of hand action, will rotate over the top of your left arm, again pointing the club down somewhere near the golf ball. With hand action back and through. When you have proper hand action, your arms stay fairly close to your body. Improper hand action, your arms separate from your body, back and through. So hand action is very, very important. Only thing holding on the club. Another little simple drill will give you to feel the hand action. So you'll hold the club in your back hand. You'll simply swing the club back and forth. Notice how the right arm rolls automatically. You don't have to make an attempt to do that. It should happen on its own. We'll also reverse it. Do that with your left hand, front hand, back and forth so you can feel the correct hand action. This would be the proper position to be in at this stage of your swing. Right arm rotating over the top of the left. Again, we're going to see some hand action that doesn't move very well. We're going to see some people try and keep their left arm too straight, too rigid, finish too high. And when you do that, it's very difficult to have the proper hand action. After we get into the hand action drills, we get into positions that your bodies are going to be in. Most important position for your body is for it to maintain its level as it swings back, down, and through. We're going to see a lot of you change levels because your legs are going to straighten up on the back swing, drop down on the forward swing, straighten up on the forward swing. We're going to see changes of levels in your spine angle, how your body itself is meandering around back, down, and through. Some of the drills we'll give you for maintaining your levels evolve around your hip action. Front hips should turn back on the same level, if not higher, as you move back into your back hip. On the forward swing, you have a mirror image of that, unwinds on the same level. Most of you who have a problem in this area will be dipping down in this fashion. Your hips will be on a seesaw, thus necessitating a seesaw coming back prior to making your swing. Another drill we'll be using, we'll cross your arms on your chest for upper body, where you turn back, unwind through, trying to maintain your levels as you do so. So basic golf swing, probably the oldest statement in golf is that you turn your back to the target and you face the target. So it's very important to maintain your levels. It's very important to maintain the spine angle as you wind up around it back, down, and through, at least until just after you hit the ball before your body comes up out of that. We'll give you some weight shift drills. Once you get back into the backswing on the proper level, loaded into your right leg, we want you to shift your weight back into your front foot. We might have you put your front foot next to your back foot, take a step, follow through so you can get used to shifting your weight. These are the big muscle or body drill. So we have a proper setup, we have the hand and arm action, we have what your body should be doing during your swing. The last thing is your mental image of your swing, the shape of your swing in the air. There are no straight lines in a golf swing. The golf swing is basically circular back. We'll come down, strike the ball, and it goes circular through. Most of you will be thinking of straight back. Most of you will be thinking of straight through. So as our body winds up and unwinds in a circle, we very much would like to have your hands and arms follow that winding up, unwinding in a circle. Those of you who have a problem on the unwinding part, normally you're trying to finish too high, too much inside out. The proper finish, if I hit the ball, body unwinds, after my club will finish somewhere underneath my front shoulder. That should be your mental image of the shape of your swing. We'll probably have you back in our swing plane hoop if you have difficulty with that. We're going to pause right now and get right back to you in a second with some short game fundamentals. Your bunker fundamentals evolve around your sand wedge. A sand wedge is designed with a terrific bounce on the bottom. This flange slanting downward should be in this position. That means when you hold your club, this club face needs to be laid back or open a little bit. This flange is what enters the sand, glides through the sand, eventually surfaces on the other side. So if you hold your hands too far in front, you don't lay back your club face or open it, this is going to be too sharp of an angle cutting into the sand. So all bunker play evolves around having this sand wedge used in an open position, not in a square or closed position. When we think of taking our stance, you dig your feet in, lower yourself in the sand about a ½ inch or so. In doing so, you can feel the texture of the sand. You have your club laid back slightly. This angle will be pointed slightly to your right side. Take your stance here. Do your normal bending from the waist. When I ground my club should be about 2 to 3 inches behind the ball, naturally. Never want to play a bunker shot with your ball way off your back foot. From this position, in your bunker swing, we like to see you guarantee that the club head itself will go at least as high as your head on the backswing. Hands and arms would match your shoulder height. On the follow through, you have a mirror image of that. Club head at least as high as your head. Hands and arms at least as high as your shoulders. That's your swinging motion when you hit your bunker shot. Remember, this is the only shot in golf where we don't hit the ball. We want to try and hit slightly behind the ball, 2 to 3 inches, using the bounce on your club, throwing sand out from underneath the ball onto the green. If I were to demonstrate the shot, we dig in, club face laid back slightly, bend from my waist. When I take my normal stance, my ball is slightly in front of that. We then make the swing, making sure the club travels at least over your head on either side. This is not a swing that requires a great deal of effort. Actually, more or less allow the club to work. It's a shot, if you're very good at it, you can hit with one hand back and through. And we may have a lot of you hitting one-handed bunker shots. If you can hit the bunker shot with one hand, then you can definitely hit it with two, and this shot becomes very, very easy. That's it for the bunker shot. Now let's move on to the pitch shot. To your basic pitch shot. A pitch shot is a shot where you have to loft the ball high in the air over something and stop it a little quicker than normal. What we'd like you to use is your sand wedge or pitching wedge. It has the most amount of loft on it, natural loft. Ball should go in the air properly. Your ball position for this should be fairly centered in your stance. Anytime we try and hit a shot high, you really don't want your hands way in front of the ball, because that's what you would do to hit a low shot. You don't want your ball way off your back foot. That's what you would do with a low shot. So anytime you try and hit a high shot, keep your feet fairly close together. Feel as if your hands are fairly centered with your body. Let the natural loft of your sand wedge or pitching wedge hit a ball in the air. We'll give you an idea of what natural loft is. If I were to make good contact with this shot, with just natural loft of my sand wedge, you can see how high in the air this ball would automatically start. My only requirement is to make sure that when I swing forward that I get my club underneath the golf ball. This is not a swing where you try and brush the top of the grass as you swing. So the pitch shot evolves around picking a club, choosing a club that will automatically loft the ball in the air. When you swing, maintain your levels, especially in your lower body. Make sure that your legs maintain their flex back and through. In your follow through for any high lofted shot, you want to have the feeling that the club face itself is still pointed slightly at the target versus having allowed it to roll over to the side. Feet fairly close together, hands centered. We have about half the swing we'll make that we just made in the bunker shot, because in this case we are touching the ball, not missing it. So this is a swing where your hands go between your hips and your shoulders on either side. And the loft of the club will hit the ball in the air. It's very important to understand that you have tremendous loft on your golf equipment. This is in a normal position. If I need to hit it higher, I would lay this back even more. Notice how the loft changes. From this position, making that little half swing back and through, going about hip high to hip high, I automatically hit a high lofted pitch shot. Maintain your levels with your legs. Don't let anything straighten up. Maintain your level with your spine angle. Don't let anything straighten up, and you can be a good pitcher of the ball. That's it for the pitching fundamentals. Now on to the chip and run. Your basic chip and run shot. Basically, when we hit a chip and run shot, we use a club with less loft on it. The idea is to hit a shot that lands very close to you on the green and then runs the rest of the way to the pin. And our club selection here is very, very important. In this case, I have a 7-iron, which doesn't have much loft on it. The basic ball position, we like to see your feet fairly close together. We very much like to see the ball played closer to your back foot than your front foot. If you play it up by your front foot, you're basically going to hit it on the upswing, probably hitting well behind the ball, sculling it or hitting it fat. So the perfect ball position is somewhere near your back foot. We prefer to see you closer to the ball in this shot versus far away. The further away from the ball you get, the less chance you have of making good contact with a golf ball. So we play our ball somewhere close to our back foot. Hands are somewhere near our front leg, not way outside. From this position, we have a club that will automatically run it. I'm going to pick a spot on the green where I want the ball to land. The basic stroke you're going to make is something like your putting stroke. So in your putting stroke, we won't have a lot of hand action, picking the club, moving it around. Just a simple putting stroke back and forth. And the key on this is the forward part, making sure that your front arm travels as you follow through. Let me demonstrate. Ball back off the back foot, hands slightly in front. Weight will tend to be a little more forward. We make our basic putting stroke as we swing back and through. Let's do that again real quickly. Things that you won't do. You're going to tend to want to scoop this up. Front arm will stop. Body will raise up or change positions. Very important that you keep your front arm traveling back and through just as you would with your putting stroke. Select a club that will run most of the way, not a club that will carry the ball in the air. Those are the basic fundamentals of the chip and run. Now let's move on to putting. Let's discuss some of the putting fundamentals that we're going to go through during your golf school. The key to putting, most important fundamental, is having the proper feel for distance on every stroke that you have. There's not a lot of technique involved for the feel for that. It's your inherent feel. How far am I going to hit this ball to make it stop next to that hole? As far as your stroke is concerned, most of the best players tend to have more of an arm stroke, firm wristed stroke. The poor putters tend to have a wristy stroke. So one of the drills that we like to see you practice, where you clap your hands together, swing your arms back and forth, and this should be pretty similar to the putting stroke that you should use at all times. Clap the hands, let your arm swing go back and forth. Some of the worst putters tend to have their hands move in this fashion. When you take your stroke, take your stance, You like to see your eyes somewhere near the ball. You don't want to be extreme where you're way on this side or way on this side. Hand should feel comfortable. Stroke should tend to go straight back, straight through, although there can be a slight curving to the stroke based on your stance. Fundamentals, again, we don't want the club picking up with the hands, nor do we want it following through with the hands. You'll have a fundamental stance that feels good to you, nice and balanced. When you make your stroke, try not to let your body move. When you watch your ball, let your head swivel this way. That does not move your body. Many of you will watch your ball picking your head up to watch it, and when you do so, you're going to come out of your position and probably miss-hit the putt. Fundamentals and distance, most important. Pre-shot routine is also important. You figure out your line of your putt. Once you have that figured, you get near your ball, make a couple of practice strokes for the feel for distance. You then line your putter up where you think is perfect for your way you read the putt. Your mind then clicks off into your feel for distance, and you stroke your putt. That's something you have to do on all putts. Figure out the break. Once you have the break figured out, do some strokes for feel for distance. Once you have that figured out, put your club behind the ball, aim it properly, and check off it.